today. Thank you. Luke Stephenson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since this House first learned of the disastrous terms of the Chagos surrender deal, there's been a significant focus on the spiralling costs and the defence and security implications. We've heard many arguments today. The government's weakness has compromised our national security, surrendering British territory to an ally of China and paying £35 billion for the privilege, or indeed perhaps as high as £50 billion for the privilege. Their failure on the government benches to defend the British national interest is shameful. Equally shameful is their failure to consider the impact this deal will have on environmental protections for marine areas. And I know members from across this House have reflected on this today. That it's a shame that more members from the government benches didn't turn up to stand up for our environmental protections in the Indian Ocean territories.
No one.
So I would like to speak to the importance of new clauses 3 and 4, tabled in the name of the Shadow Secretary of State, which relate to the marine protected areas. 2 sensible amendments to strengthen oversight of the marine protected area. The region of the Indian Ocean that hosts the unique and remarkable Chagos Islands is of critical importance for wildlife. The archipelago is a biodiversity hotspot, monitored by the UK over the last 15 years. The 640,000 square kilometre marine protected area has kept the surrounding waters in near pristine condition. Coral reefs in the untouched marine protected area are some of the healthiest in the world. They're a sanctuary for marine life, including endangered species like hawksbill turtles, green turtles and reef sharks, and they're located along hugely significant migratory routes for species of tuna, whales and seabirds. The remarkable resilience of the reefs to coral bleaching events also makes them highly significant for scientific research to better understand resilience to changing climates. I absolutely will.
I'm grateful to the member for taking an intervention. Like myself, the member is a new member, so I'm also puzzled why he would consider that his party started these negotiations if the whole thing is such a terrible idea.
I thank the member for that intervention. There's a difference between talking with other countries and actually doing a deal.
Yeah, quite right.
I know that the front bench sitting here, who formed part of the government, the last government, were not going to do this deal. They may have been talking, but as we've heard from the front bench, there was going to be no agreement.
Yeah.
So I thank the honourable member for his interventions and reflecting that I wasn't part of the previous government, but he knows full well that this agreement would not have been made under these terms if we were in government right now.
Yeah. Without doubt.
As such, the marine protected area being one of the largest untouched marine ecosystems is globally significant. As such, instead of heedlessly driving this hopeless surrender deal through Parliament, the government should have been making sure that protections for wildlife and the marine environment were watertight. Answering questions to the Foreign Affairs Committee in June, the Minister for Overseas Territories would not give any clear assurances or guarantees on the future of the marine protected area. Within the Minister's obfuscation about separate agreements with Mauritius that hope we can share objectives and values, the Minister admitted that we can only, and I quote, take it on trust that there will be a marine protected area after sovereignty has been surrendered. We absolutely do not need to take this on trust. The government has failed to secure any meaningful safeguards or guarantees and is instead merely hoping, that a memorandum of understanding will somehow protect this pristine ecosystem. Well, Madam Chair, how on earth can we have any confidence in this at all? A simple change of government in Mauritius, or even just a change of heart, would render the UK powerless to stop Chinese trawlers from turning up and devastating the marine environment. And given the evidence of China plundering the high seas, for example in the South Atlantic, just outside the Falkland Islands zone of economic interest, they absolutely will do the same in this territory. I will give way.
He's making a really powerful point about the marine environment in the area, but does he accept that we don't even need a change of heart by Mauritius? We don't even need them to decide that the treaty wasn't worthwhile. They don't have the ability to give the protection. Even if there is no change of heart, there's no ability to give the protection, and that's why this is a bad deal for the environment.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with the honourable gentleman. And can I note that the honourable gentleman and I are the only members in this chamber from the Environmental Audit Committee, which I think is a damning indictment on those members in this House that are here to protect our environment and to hold the government to account on environmental protections. Will the Minister now explain what will happen to the MPA in the future and whether the government will commit resources to support the protection of the MPA? If so, where will these resources come from? With the Fisheries Minister of Mauritius talking of issuing fishing and trawler licences, it is more important than ever that we have lasting confidence in the marine protections before British territory is surrendered to Mauritius. Does the Minister share my concerns over new fishing and trawler licences? I would like the Minister to answer that in summing up. New Clause 3 will require that any written instrument on the establishment and management of the marine protected area be subject to the approval of this House to ensure it is fit for purpose. What progress has been made with developing a separate instrument referenced in Article 5.2 of the treaty? I'd like the Minister to answer that in summing up. And will it be in place before Mauritius assumes sovereignty? Any agreement on the Chagos MPA must be scrutinised like a treaty and presented to Parliament. New Clause 4 will require the Secretary of State to regularly report on the status of the marine protected area. Reports from committees in the Lords have raised concerns about Mauritius's track record on environmental protections. Does the Minister agree with these concerns and therefore agree the ecological status of this extraordinary environment must remain on the British government's agenda? I'd like the Minister to reflect that in his summing up. Will the Minister now accept, as well as costing British taxpayers £35 billion, betraying British Chagosians and undermining our security, without better protections secured in the treaty, their Chagos surrender deal will harm the marine environment? All of this at a time when the government argued that the state of public finances required tough choices. Choices that punished pensioners, family farmers and taxed education for the very first time. Well, Madam Chair, the annual cost of the surrender of the Chagos Islands could be paying for 3,068 new teachers, 3,253 new nurses, or 1,975 police officers. In the first year, the money paid to Mauritius could deliver a new GP surgery in 30 communities. Communities like Wixham's and Wootton in my constituency of Mid-Bedfordshire still waiting for improved access to local healthcare. Well, this was all a choice, Madam Chair, a choice to prioritise ideological surrender over our communities, over our security and over marine protections. It is shameful. I encourage honourable members from across this House to support New Clause 3 and New Clause 4.
Yeah.